Welcome to Talking Shit, Real Conversations. My name is Anik. I'm with
Stank G,
Maurice,
and Nate.
So, Maurice, can you tell people what this show is about?
Well, Talking Shit is about regular people. Most of the time when we're at home or we're in our own social, we have real conversations and we talk shit amongst each other. But a lot of times we don't hear everyone's point of view. Different cultures, different. You just hear your point of view.
Exactly. So you're gonna come here and you're gonna listen to us talk, comment, like us, and let us know what you want us to talk about. So
Yeah, we want to know how you feel about the topics that we discussing.
yes, and you are gonna like us. So what are we gonna talk about first, guys? Like, what's on your
Well,
mind?
I had a question. I'm African American. I'm from the south side of Chicago. I wanted to know if he was born in Africa, what does that make him? Does that make him African? Because he's born in Africa?
Okay. To me, that's really hard to answer. When you were born in South Africa and your parents are American too, I think you're American. You're not African. You don't have any African blood in you. And the same thing when it comes to like African American.
What if his dad was African?
Then he's African.
And his mother was African?
But it gets
But
it gets a little more tricky when you go down to the scientific part of it, which I don't want to get too geeky.
But go there.
But from the mitochondrial DNA, because I studied biology in college, mitochondrial DNA, everybody is traceable back to Africa.
But today's
Now-
time, no, it's different.
But what I think is like we kind of get rid of the label, different like African American, white, all that type of stuff, because we're really one race. We're the human race.
So
We're just different variations of the same race.
Yeah.
And see that,
I agree.
I'm sorry, because I agree with him. And like when we as people, like you said, white, black, we perpetuate the problem. Because if he was born, to me, if he was born in South Africa, the Congo, Sudan, just because his skin is white doesn't make him not African. Now, I respect her position, but I think it's wrong.
Believe it or not, though, with today's time, even though his skin is lighter, he can be just as much African as you, and your skin is darker.
Right.
But here's where I kind of do agree with her. I would be European, but I'd be African by nationality. So I would be born in Africa, I'd be a citizen of Africa, but I would still be of European descent, just like I am here in the US.
But see, like here in America, they don't call you European American.
They will
just
call
say
you
you
white.
My cousin's wife says the same thing.
So can we change that? Do you guys agree? Do we need to change that whole thing? Because
So that would make me just American, because I'm not
yes,
African.
because you're not African.
But if you're in Africa, or okay, in Africa, if I'm in Botswana, Nigeria, anywhere, Kenya, I'm African American to them.
Yeah, you're not African.
So they're just gonna say he's an American.
Yeah, he's American.
Day.
But when you're here, you're African American.
You're not accepted as African in Africa.
Yeah, you know.
Because,
But hey, America looks at you as an African, so. Yeah,
People-
just like you said, we are American. We're
So-
not African because.
so if he was from
Here,
Chad, they can't look at him and say he's European Chad. No, he's Chad, or Chadian, or however you would.
How do you pronounce it? Chadian?
I don't know how.
That was funny.
I'm Chinglish.
I'm English.
But see, that's the problem. Here in America, if just like in American, we're still not accepted.
America don't accept you as an American. That's why they. Right.
But I'm wondering how many other countries actually do this, because I've never really heard an English program be like, oh well, he's African English, or he's African Australian, or he's African Iranian. So that should be a question that the viewers should really
It's
answer.
stupid.
Like,
Can you
hey,
answer that question?
if you're from another
say that
country,
question again.
if you're from another country and there's a black population and everything else, which around the world there mostly is, do they call them African fill in the country? Like they do here in America?
Swedish, like,
Well, next topic. We have a huge thing going on in America. You know, we want to either legalize it or we're going to keep locking people up. My question is this, and I would love feedback. Why, and it's going to sound crazy, but why legalize marijuana, but we don't legalize crack, we don't legalize other drugs?
what?
Why not? Because see, people gonna do what they want to do. We lock people up at an extreme high rate. Marijuana is what they say everybody wants to do, but then you have some people that snort cocaine, some people that do meth, some people do prescription drugs, which are legal.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a problem where like a drug is a drug. If they're gonna abuse it, they're gonna abuse it. What's legal is cigarettes and alcohol, and those are the two worst. Period. It's worse than crack. But we shun crackheads.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a crackhead, never have used it. But I'm just speaking on the sense how, as society, we demonize addiction, and that's just drugs. People are addicted to making money. People are addicted to chocolate, going to work. The list goes on and on. But we demonize drug abuse.
I think it's your choice. Which if a motherfucker want to get high, that's their choice.
But why should they have to go to jail because they?
I'm not agreeing with that. I'm not agreeing with that at all. That's like if Susie OD'd on crack, that bitch wanted to smoke. She took her money and she bought her crack. She died. That's on her. That's how she wanted her life to go. I don't feel like that. They should be able to tell you, oh, you can't do this or do that. I understand the drug itself is illegal, but if I sell nickel bags and I'm not really doing nothing, you know what I'm saying? But I am selling it. So selling it, I'm against. But you catch the sellers, don't catch a motherfucker who bought a nick.
As it comes down to is one of the biggest problems here in this country is that people don't want to mind their own fucking business. People want to sit there and say,
Seriously?
I don't like what Scott down the street's doing, so I'm gonna fucking go down and get some lobby group together. We're gonna pass a law that Scott can't go out there and mow his grass every third Thursday. And if they want to put that in their body, who are we to tell them not to? As long as they're not going out murdering people, shooting people, robbing people, breaking into cars, doing whatever.
But you know, the drugs mix you do all that shit. So
I don't know.
But then here's
you don't agree that crack makes you go.
But see, I think it should be treated a lot like guns. Is if you want to smoke crack, right? Some people fucking probably smoke crack and they'll probably sit there, for days on end or whatever, and they just want to smoke crack. They don't really want to steal it.
You reap the rewards.
Now, you get the guy that wants to go out and steal shit to buy more crack. He's going to get caught by the police. He's going to go to jail.
It's just like an
And guess
alcoholic.
what?
It's just like what
It's taking a bad person off the street, just like guns.
So
right? A gun doesn't kill
I
somebody.
think the solution
People
is
kill.
to actually arrest the person who's selling.
Yeah.
Who's selling. So
See,
if you get,
that goes back to my point. It shouldn't be illegal.
Yes.
It shouldn't be illegal. We would pay all our fucking debts. We owe trillions of dollars around the world.
Seriously.
We would, if don't, I want to say to you viewers, I don't believe in crack use, abuse,
No.
meth, or any of those things. No, but because I know a lot of marijuana smokers, and the majority of the marijuana smokers will say, ain't nothing wrong with smoking weed. But then they'll say, but that damn crackhead, it's no different.
But see,
Drugs are drugs.
Here's what would really happen. If let's say we legalize all the drugs and everybody could do anything that they wanted.
Crime
first
would
off,
be at a minimum.
Most of the people, yeah, everybody be inside doing drugs. Aside from that, most of the people that are going to abuse the drugs and abuse them heavy are going to OD. So that's a lot of the population gone right there because they chose to do that to themselves. The other people that use it responsibly, which I've never heard of somebody using crack or meth or something like that responsibly, but people that smoke pot, or whatever responsibly, they go to work, they don't smoke weed at the job, but they come home and they like to get high or whatever, I don't have a problem with, are going to be the ones that slept. That's the basics of natural selection.
I put it this way. Maybe what I'm asking for is reform where instead of locking majority of our citizens up because they have an addiction, let's help them.
Yeah.
I don't think that the buyer should be charged. If a motherfucker bought a nick or a bag of weed to get choice, I don't feel like they should be locked up. They need to focus on the dealers. You got so many people that might have been caught with a blunt or smoking weed that's not dealers that catch a charge, and that put them in the system, and who's paying for them to be in jail? Taxpayers. Okay, if the money is an issue, then okay, legalize it everywhere. Don't just do it in 20 states. Because now you got states like our state, and we like, what the fuck? Like, you know, when is our turn coming? But I can still go to jail here, but if I move to Denver and get a license, I can just blow that shit. Like, you know, don't limit or restrict me if that's the case. And then when you think about it, if the money's an issue, which it is, because if they can tax something, if the government can tax something and eat off of it, then they will. But at the same time, them 20 states, what we don't see as people is those local dealers who they put out of business. Now, what are they doing for money? Did the violence go up? Because if my only means of getting money is selling marijuana and y'all to make the shit legal, how do I feed my family now?
They need to fix better laws where, like, you know, the problem is if here in our country, we say if you go to jail and you do the time, you're getting that second chance.
Ain't no second chance. Once you're a felon, ain't nobody fucking
You
with
want
you.
to talk about this, Nate?
Dude,
Nate has something to say.
Yeah, here's the big thing. It's like, America, this is the other thing that really pisses me off is that everybody will say that this is a Christian country, God-fearing people and everything else, and I'm an atheist, so I don't know what other guys' religious views are, but I'm an atheist, so first off, I find that complete utter bullshit. But if you do make a mistake and you get rehabilitated, let's say you have like one felony, maybe you've done a few misdemeanors here and there or whatever, you can't get that wiped off your record because you have something prior to it. Maybe like a couple misdemeanors.
I just went through that a week ago. I went to court and they pulled up some shit. They was like, oh, the prosecutor says she don't see a problem with it. I have my attorney. And the judge was like, well, what happened in 95? I'm like, dude, I was like 15, 16 years old. 95, I didn't know they would go back. Then my attorney's like, oh, we didn't know they could go back 22 years on you. There was a misdemeanor with 10 grams.
Okay,
So
see, and that's the point. It's like everybody wants to go to church on Sunday.